All right. And why is my camera showing or not?
Oh, it's mine. I moved my Zoom over there.
Hold on, see.
Did everybody grab their pizza yet?
Did everybody got pizza?
Let me just turn down the sound here. All right, that'll.
Great. Awesome.
Okay. All right. All right, and fair enough. I don't know about sound. Anyway, so
Oh,
we need to
there's
have.
sound
Okay.
feedback.
This, which one is the main presenter? This one? So you need the sound on this one and not on that one. How do we get the sound on this one? Is this one in the Zoom meeting? Okay, back to meeting.
Oh, so
This one doesn't seem to be in the meeting. Can you turn the sound on? I can't get back to the meeting for some reason. Maybe it's got to do with
yeah,
the,
right here.
okay.
So and that's showing over there.
So can you turn the sound on here?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm getting echoes, which means you have more than one input. So let me get rid of the sound on this one.
Oh yeah. Here.
All right, there?
Yep. You're good.
Now, can you say something, Tessa? I don't know if we can hear you.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Good, yeah, I can hear you, okay. I think we're all right. All right, folks, so this is our combined meeting. This is a City College class and a extra credit event for students to show up. And we have Marco here from Pacific Hackers, and should be some of those folks here, which is a really important users group. You should all be getting involved in that, especially if you want to get a job. That's how you get a job. You meet people, get to know them. And here's Alice from Black Hills, going to talk to us about social engineering, which I greatly appreciate. You want to say something about Pacific Hackers?
Yeah. So I'll go get.
Oh, I was, you guys, I was gonna do like a formal thing, but you could just.
Feel
get
free.
right into
Go
it.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tessa.
Go ahead.
You're on the screen, so yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, hey everyone, I'm Tessa Ansel, the president of the Women's Cybersecurity at PCSF. I'm super excited to welcome you all to this event on social engineering, one of the coolest and sneakiest parts of cybersecurity. We've teamed up with Pacific Hackers to bring you this awesome event where we'll be diving into the world of human hacking, how people get tricked, how hackers use psychology to break security, and most importantly, how you can outsmart them. Before we jump in, I'd like to invite the Pacific Hackers team, Marco, to introduce themselves and share a bit about their incredible community.
All right. So I'm gonna move you a little bit in a second, and then I'll put you back. There you go. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Marco Palacios. I'm the president and co-founder of Pacific Hackers Association. So if you don't know who we are, you're gonna find out. So first of all, we have, I know it's a school, but I'm still gonna say it. We have a no asshole rule. So when we do our meetups, we don't have egos. We are a community, we're a family, okay? So treat everyone with respect. I know we have freedom of speech, but sometimes, some comments are not just welcome. So just treat everyone with respect, okay? So who we are, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're in a mission to fix some of the issues in the cybersecurity field. One, being diversity. We want more women in the field, more people of color. Two, the education system. We know there's many schools out there. And by the way, not this one, because I know for a fact that Sam's classes are the best. But there's other schools out there that have programs, and to be honest, once the students graduate, they're not ready to go into the workforce, okay? And the other one is the hiring process, right? HR. We still look at junior analyst positions requiring a CISSP. And we know that's, to get a CISSP, you need 5 years of experience. So that doesn't make sense. So I always like to tell my story. When I was a member, just a attendee of Pacific Hackers about 8 years ago, at one point I started coming to the meetups. One day I decided to present, and my boss was in the room. And that was my interview. 5 days later, I got hired, and I've been working for the company for 6 years now. So it could happen. So about the meetup, we started the meetup about 8 years ago, and we've been doing this meetup in South Bay. We did not do San Francisco for a reason. Back pre-pandemic, there were a lot of security groups in the San Francisco area. We didn't want to compete, but there was nothing in South Bay, so the founder, did it there. After the pandemic, a lot of the groups left, and we stayed. And yeah, we've been doing a lot of events. In fact, this month itself, we had 8 events. This is how crazy we're and growing. So yeah, so we're always looking for speakers. So again, use these. We are actually called, and someone make the joke about it, but that is actually a reality. We are the Toastmasters of cybersecurity in Silicon Valley, because people that has come through Pacific Hackers, now they're speaking at B-Sides, RSA, DEF CON, Black Hat. Some of them forgot where they come from, but I can tell you, videos still show at one point they suck at speaking, and now they're the spotlight of something. So hey, that could be you, okay? So just remember that you have a place if you want to start your, public speaking career. This is where you do it, okay? So we do a lot of events, joint events. OWASP is one of our main, partners. Also, we do it with WSIS in Silicon Valley, and now we're gonna do it with WSIS CCSF chapter, okay? So I'm gonna show you the next events we have. Obviously, tonight's event, it's here, the first one in the city with CCSF. Tomorrow, this is for everybody, but especially for our ladies, we have a Valentine's event tomorrow in Oakland. If you use code Be My Guest, you can come in for free. Okay. So again, the first 2 hours there's going to be 2 panels, women in the industry talking about some stuff, and but then after that it's going to be a happy hour. So from 4 on, male can come in and enjoy the festivities. We also going to start having our first conference in South Cal, and it's going to be called Sunset Con. This is part of the Scale. If you're familiar with the Scale or South Cal Linux group, they been running this conference for 22 years. They invite us to come up with a track for security, and we call it Sunset Con. And we're going to be there on 6th and the 7th in Pasadena Convention Center. Okay. Next, we postponed this event from last week to next month. It's going to be a pickleball event. So again, if you are into pickleball and you're in the South Bay, please join us. There's always going to be people who want to compete in pickleball and stuff. Hack the Bay. If you don't know the story of Hack the Bay, we came up with Hack the Bay last year, 2 months before RSA. And you know that coming up with a location at 2 months before RSA is almost impossible. Well, we came up with this event. It was just going to be 100 people gathering. Eventually, they said, "Oh, you can bring 200 people." Long story short, that morning, 500 people, more than 500 people signed up, and they show up, and we couldn't let them in, and I felt so bad. So I told them that this year I was going to go bigger. So we rented. If you're familiar with Public Works, it's an underground nightclub. This is where we're going to be because that's where hackers belong to, right? The underground. So that, and then Pacific Hackers Conference. It's going to be our 6th-year anniversary this year. Still in South Bay. We're going to be looking for a new location because we always been doing it at Hacker Dojo for the last 5 years, but we grew, right? And now it's time to move out. It's like almost like your parents' house. You after your 18, it's like, hey, it's time to move on. We're at that point actually to start looking for a bigger venue because we did actually this year or 2024. We have 2 tracks, we have villages, we have a workshop, and it was under tents because we could not fit everybody in the space. So we were creative, but still, we're always looking to have a better place for you. And I always like to thank my sponsors. We could not do it without them. And thank you also CCSF and Sam for hosting this, and Tessa for allowing us to be here. And as always, we always need your help. And it's not about money. It's also about spreading the word, telling people who we are, what we do, referrals. Obviously, you're students. If you want to be part of a community, we are a community, okay? Also, in just Pacific Hackers itself, part of the team are people who are actually owners of companies, like the CTO and co-founder of SafeBridge is one of the CTF developers, and I'm actually his boss. So who knows, right? Like I'm dealing with this guy who's a millionaire, and he's just giving back to the community. So just like that, we have placed many people into jobs, including myself 8 years or 6 years ago. Okay, share your knowledge. I mean, I have the QR code here. If you want to present, as soon as we start doing more meetups in the city, we're gonna need speakers. At one point, I'll tell you this story because for the last 7 years, if you went to the Pacific Hackers meetup, Sam's picture was there. And here's the reason why. When we started, we were not getting enough people to come to the meetups. As soon as we invited Sam, like people just show up. And honestly, this is the reason why we grew, because of him, because he believed in what we were doing. So every time we knew that if we invited Sam for a workshop or CTF or something, people were gonna come, and we did, and that's how we, eventually grew. So thank you, Sam, for that, and yeah, no, definitely, you deserve that round of applause. So yeah, so I don't want to do the same thing we did 7 years ago. Call him every time we do a meetup in the city. So please, now we have to train the next generation, right? Because we cannot do this all the time. So you are the next generation. So come on over. And again, sponsoring obviously might not apply to you, but if you know someone, a company, or someone who likes to sponsor, please let them know that we always need that help. And before I want to introduce Alice in a second. So we have a Discord community, okay? Please join our Discord. We're slowly growing it, but yeah, we have a Discord. And if you want to get a hold of me, email, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on Discord, I'm Mark Graff. So, and also you can find me at DEF CON as Mark Graff on one of the lagoons. So, yep. And I just want to thank you again for showing up tonight and support us and support WCCCSF chapter. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Alice from Black Hills InfoSec. So if you don't know who's Black Hills
hey,
InfoSec.
Marco, before you go introduce Alice, I wanted to mention that there's somebody on the chat that had mentioned that that the event that you had mentioned, like he couldn't find it on the website, so he was wondering if that information is on the website. I do know that those events exist because Meetup keeps sending me information, so maybe you can answer that.
Okay, so meetup.com/Pacific Hackers, that's where that is, and it's actually through Eventbrite. So yeah, and the code for tomorrow is be my guest, and yeah. All right, last minute thoughts before I transfer to Alice. You're on the big screen, so go ahead, Tessa.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Marco, for all introduction and for reminding everyone about the no AFO rule, because I did mention it ahead of time, and also all the incredible work that you do in cybersecurity. I'm also going to rub in that I'm a Pacific Hacker member, a paying member, because I believe in them as evident to everything that they do. So I hope everybody joins this incredible community. I want to give a shout out to Pacific Hacker for sponsoring today's pizza, because let's be honest, no good hacker event is complete without pizza.
I'm
So
beer,
now,
no beer this time.
yeah. Now, as we settle in with our slices, it's time to introduce our keynote speaker. So I met Alice at CPTC last year, where she briefly shared that she worked with BHIS, which is short for Black Hills InfoSec. I hope I didn't slaughter that, but I'm sure she'll go over that with everybody. So social engineering isn't always something people think about as essential, but it's something we all need to understand. So no spoilers, so please join me in welcoming Alice from BHIS.
Go ahead.
All good?
And by the way, I heard my alma mater won the competition last fall, UNR, so go walk back. Just kidding. All right.
right, and then you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, for the rope people, yeah, please share your screen.
You need that.
No,
If
I
you
should be
think
good.
power.
It's free. Although we were just talking about like, oh, we just want this cable. Oh, okay. You need water or something?
Sorry.
Yeah, I can.
That's good, it's working.
Oh, I just signed up, but it's in person.
In person only, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. I'll log back in and start answering questions.
Okay.
Can you?
My full screen is. I love doing tech support. I never escape.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully that looks alright.
It's good enough that way.
Well, that's for this one. Can you see her screen?
Yeah, yeah, it's working.
Okay, great then. Yeah, I think you're good.
Cool.
You said you need water?
No, I'm alright. I think so. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, it's gone, so.
Cool. Alright, well, nice to meet you all. As has been said, my name's Alice and I'm with Black Hills Information Security. We're a small boutique pen testing shop out of South Dakota. Real quick, how many of you are students? How many of you are not students? Okay, cool. I'm really glad I rewrote like all of my slides like an hour before I came here. Yeah, pretty much. I originally wrote this and it was about 3 times as long. It was probably going to be 20 minutes, half hour. I have 8 slides now, maybe 9. So I went for a much higher overview. So if you do have questions, I do have a question segment at the end, unless it is really pressing, in which case raise your hand and I'll do my best to answer it. So, see if I know how to work a computer. I only know how to break them. So, this talk is, as was said previously, about social engineering. And again, my name is Alice with Black Hills. I have lots of cool hobbies, my favorite of which is looking like a Hot Topic manager, because it makes you a better hacker, or so I've been told, and tell myself. So, social engineering, who here knows what it is? Okay, so who here doesn't know what it is? I like how like 3 people total raised their hands for each one. So brief overview. The TLDR is it is getting people to do something that benefits you. So this can be multiple forms. This can be, me talking directly to someone. This can be through something like phishing and sending emails that are deceptive and trying to get people to click links, give you credentials, whatever. All sorts of forms. So there's a ton of goals with this, whether you are a nation-state actor like China, Russia, whoever, whether you are someone who is doing this legally, like myself, and doing it for a customer. There's all sorts of goals, whether it's trying to get credentials, you're trying to steal state secrets or corporate espionage, whatever. You can do pretty much anything with social engineering. All you have to do is ask people nicely to give you their stuff. So I specifically, actually, again, I guess I should ask, who knows what penetration testing is? Okay, it's breaking into stuff, right? But with permission. So I do long-term penetration testing, so usually within a year or more, while most of these tests are a week, maybe a month, maybe 3 months. So I have a much longer time period that I can operate in. And so usually on a lot of these tests, if you go up against a company, you start poking stuff with sticks, whether it's servers, firewalls, or actual people, security's going to get kind of riled up, and you're kind of toast at that point. Versus I can poke people, do whatever, and then if security gets alerted, back off. I can come back, do a recon, figure out what I want to do next. So as part of this, we have a lot more opportunities for social engineering. I have times where I will do recon, whether it's on the company and targets, for weeks, if not months. Currently, I have someone that I've been getting info on for probably close to 2 months right now. So another fun, elaborate one that we did that was insanely successful is we got 20 people from every company. We found their home addresses. We found their spouses' names. We sent them postcards containing actual Amazon gift cards that were, I think, $50 a piece. So we sent 20 of those. What success rate do you think that would have if all you had to do to get that $50 gift card was sign into your work account? How many of you would sign into a school account or work account if it meant free Amazon $50?
Is it obvious that they're
I
stealing?
appreciate you raising your hand and being honest.
Is it obvious that they're stealing your password when you sign in? I mean,
So we did make it a little tricky. We did clone their login portals. So it's not immediate audit.
so it just said
immediately
go to this
audit.
URL and sign in?
Yep.
Oh,
So, but if you go to login.microsoft with 3ts.com, it's
right.
probably not the real thing. It was about 80% effective.
Good.
So we had more credentials than we know what to do with. And this is and as part of this, we bypassed all multi-factor as well. So again, tons of things to do. The thing that I particularly specialize in is calling people. I get to live every millennial's worst nightmare every single day. And it's also my worst nightmare. I don't know if you can tell, but I have social anxiety, which makes calling people on the phone a lot of fun when I try to get on and be convincing when I'm at like 140 BPM. Yeah.
Do you just act out a persona?
Usually what we'll do is we will find targets, and then I will do some light recon on all those targets and then pick someone to kind of focus in on, and I will pretend to be that person. Yes?
I recommend play D&D. Okay.
I would, except for I hate board games.
Is it a board game?
It's a lifestyle.
That's
So targets. The people that I mostly target is help desks. Usually it's call in, again, pretend to be someone, ask very nicely to reset their password. A lot of times I will not get asked any questions, or if so, I might get asked the last 4 of your social security number, which I hate to break it, pretty much everyone's social security number is now public, especially over the last couple of years. We will also sometimes target people directly and pretend to be the help desk. In one case, we had a woman whose password had been compromised. We tested it, could log in, and then the next screen was enter in the code from your authenticator. Like, okay. Call the woman and you say, hey, we're with IT, so sorry to bother you. Your account got flagged. We think your multi-factor is not syncing correctly. And she's like, I don't have to give you my password though, right? We said, thank you for paying attention to the security briefings. Yeah, don't ever give your password out to anyone. Now, if you can give me the 6-digit code that your authenticator is giving you, we can go ahead and make sure that gets synced up. And we took over that entire company. So everyone is a target, whether it's legally, us targeting companies and employees, whether it's you getting targeted, whether it's your grandma getting targeted with whatever scam call is currently going on, everyone's a target. So I kind of started to talk about this a little bit already. The main flow, at least I do this, and kind of overall, is of course you find out who you want to target, do a recon on them, figure out who you want to be, whether this is a specific person or some, personality or whatever. You call them, you trick them, do whatever you want, profit. Obviously, very gross oversimplification, but again, the last slideshow was like 40 minutes, and probably 30 of the slides were all about the specifics of that. So, this is kind of an abrupt change as far as the overview. Something I really wanted to hammer home is a big part of social engineering is also OSINT, so open source intelligence. This is doing research on people. This is, finding out where they live, finding out their phone numbers, finding out who their parents are, who their family is, who their wife is, what's their dog's name, what's the last four of their social. You need to remember to respect other people's privacy. This is insanely crucial. It's really important if you're going to be doing this ethically. And I personally struggle a lot with this because I respect people's privacy so much, and I have absolutely accidentally invaded people's privacy. And it's something you have to be really careful about. Don't be evil. One of the things that I see a lot with different guides to social engineerings or whatnot will tell you to go out and talk to people and try to get some info from them. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever had someone randomly come up to you and ask you weird questions all of a sudden, and be like, hey, how's it going? What's your mom's maiden name? It's not subtle. It's weird. It's really weird, especially when you're at DEF CON. And so everyone's already a little sketchy. You don't know whether someone's a fellow hacker or like a 3-letter agency or what. It's weird. A lot of people think they'll be a lot better at social engineering than they are. I know when I was in school, pretty much everyone that I was in school with talked a really big game about this. And they were like, yeah, I could trick anyone. Most people can't do it. It hurts to lie for a lot of people. I don't think most people like being mean or like tricking people, and they're just not convincing. So, TLDR, be good, don't be evil. And like I said, that was a really short presentation, so I really hope you guys had some questions, because I really did a brief overview of that.
I have one from the chat that says, when you say long-term, is this still under company contract? They authorize this timeline?
Yep, so we sign usually in quarters of the year. So it's usually at least 6 months, but we have ones where it's 3 to 5 years, and then we'll renew after that.
So you say you can get 80% of people to hand over their password, which sounds, well, I hear everywhere. So what can a company do about that? Well, how can they stop this?
A lot of it comes down to really just putting in multi-factor.
Right.
A lot of companies still don't do that. They don't enforce it.
Right.
Or if they do, they make it very easy to reset, which we can just get around. So
Everybody I work for would be vulnerable, I think. Because even when they have multi-factor, you always have to reset it. I have to reset it many times, every few months.
Oh, yeah.
And that process is very easy.
And actually, there's a big recommendation to not make your users reset their passwords very often. Is actually the current trend or recommendation.
Nobody
And
seems
it's
to have
for-
paid attention to that, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So what was your background before Black Hills, and how did you get started in this profession?
So I started as just an intern at Black Hills. That is purely how I got on. It was 100%. I don't want to say on luck, but networking is really important. Met a couple of people, got recommended that company, and my definitely not AI generated cover letter got picked up because I had the right keywords in it. Before that, as far as being good at this and getting into this, I did a ton of customer service. I worked at Walmart. I worked on help desks, which is how I know how they work. I worked at, blue collar stores. I worked at Home Depot. I'd done everything. And knowing how to talk to people, how to communicate, and especially with something like tech support, knowing how to ask probing questions that don't seem like an interrogation is really important and really helpful to social engineer.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, yeah, interesting then in the training. If a newbie wants to start training, well, how do you train? With your friends, maybe trying tricks on your friends? What's the
Yeah, I mean, there's guides and stuff out there that will give you like scenarios and stuff that'll kind of like I was saying earlier
so
about.
you can act like an actor? So is it
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
training acting? And do you, other social engineers, right?
Mhm.
Other
Yeah.
professionals that practice social engineering. Do you recognize any specific inclinations in people who choose this path?
Yeah, we're all weirdos.
Which means what?
A lot of the people who tend to get into security, and I would say offensive security, so pen testing or red teaming, especially tend to, at least up until recently, grow kind of isolated, probably spent way too much time on the computer. So a lot of people are just a little quirky, a little weird. But there is plenty of people that I've met that seem like the most average person ever, who are some of the most skilled hackers I've ever met in my entire life.
Hackers or social engineers?
Both.
Both.
Social engineering is a key part of the tool set, and it's how most hacks happen anymore.
Ah, okay, so you consider embedded in the profession. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can
Yeah.
choose or take care of. Okay, excellent, thank you.
From the chat, are your TTPs more technical or intuitive?
My TTPs for social engineering tend to be more intuitive. A lot of the ways that other people who, they only speak on social engineering, because it is, while I am the focus of that for my team, it's not everything that I do. I do get down and dirty. I do plenty of programming. I do plenty of deep dives into websites, codes, lots of networking. Like, I'm kind of all over the place. OSINT, a lot of it, at least for me, is down to feel because of so many years of doing customer service jobs, and especially working on help desks and talking to people over the phone and being able to, quote unquote, hear people's body language.
You mentioned that you're like a longer presentation. Can you share
Sorry, two people were talking at once. Let me answer a test real quick, and then I will come back to you. What were you saying?
I was Judy's question. When you say long term, is it still under company contract? They authorize this timeline? What? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if you understand.
that's what I was talking about earlier, as far as long term being like the duration, is what I'm assuming was being asked there.
Oh, got it. Okay. I have my own question, and it's like I had fantasized about being a social engineer, and then, like you said, then reality hit me that, oh my god, like I don't like lying to people, like it's painful. How do you cope up with that? Like, how do you deal with that whole thing?
So yeah, like I was saying a little bit earlier, a lot of people are definitely very uncomfortable with it. I'm very nervous when I call into places. Again, my BPM will shoot through the roof. You can look at my little heart rate tracker, and it will just be like spike as soon as I call in, and then it will eventually level out. At least for me personally, I'm able to kind of quarantine, I guess, kind of that mindset of what I'm doing, because I know that I'm doing it ethically, and I'm able to kind of square that away in my brain, but it is kind of its own boxed off thing mentally.
Do you have like a mantra, like you saying like a mantra, this is for peace, this is for peace, or something?
I'm gonna break in, I'm gonna break in, I'm gonna break in.
Oh, I'm gonna break in.
No, I just take 5 deep breaths before I call.
Okay.
Here, sorry, you in the back were asking a question?
Yeah, you mentioned that you had a longer version of the presentation.
Mhm.
Is there anything you could share so you could see
That would be really smart if I definitely didn't just erase the entire thing and redo it right here. If I can find the revision of it, because I know Google has some history in docs,
Yeah,
I'll share it.
Google versions the document.
Okay.
Go under file, version, C or something.
I will look for it, and if I can find it, I'll share it.
So, you kind of already answered it, but to become a social engineer, can an introvert person become a social engineer, or you'll be more successful if you're an extrovert?
I think anyone can be a social engineer. Raise of hands, who here thinks I'm an introvert?
What's the question?
Said, asking if introverts or extroverts can be social engineers.
If it is active, probably yes.
How many people think I'm an introvert? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty split down the middle. I spend a lot of time alone playing video games, don't bug me time, and spend plenty of time outdoors. I know social engineers that are extreme extroverts and always like to be around people, and I know people that I think I've met once, maybe in person, because they just don't like being around other people, but they're very talented at what they do. Also, I apologize as I'm pointing to people to answer questions. I have no idea who raised their hand first, so I promise I'm not playing favorites. Yes?
When you make phone calls, do you increase your tone so if someone
It depends on who I'm impersonating. I will deepen my voice and do a lower resonance if I'm trying to impersonate a dude. I will go higher and lighter resonance if I'm, impersonating a woman. Just entirely depends. Often I'll try to actually find what the person sounds like and do that. I also have been working with a friend on researching some different tools that use AI to change your voice, and have started messing around with that as well, because that will make my life a lot easier versus having to sit there for 10 minutes before I call and try to measure my voice and see how I sound. But yes, I will change inflection and how I talk to people quite across a large scale or spectrum. Yes.
When it comes to the phone calls, do you have any specific recommendations or luck with in the caller ID side? Do you make it look like help desk is calling, or how do you manage that aspect of it?
So this one is tricky because the answer is it depends. There's a lot of different services that will give you VoIP numbers, and these are your temporary little burner accounts and whatnot that you used to be able to sign up with stuff, but you can't anymore. A lot of those are marked spam. It's kind of like going to Reddit or other websites when using a VPN, and they're immediately like, nope, we don't care who you are. We're not letting you in. This address is bad. You can definitely run into that. I try to rotate through a bunch of different programs to try to avoid that. And any time that I pick a number and I go to call in, I will call a few different people, and I have a few burner phones that I will call to see what the caller ID is. So sometimes you may have to wait a day or two. If you can change your caller ID to be not the number, that is ideal, but not most services will not allow that anymore as of a couple of years ago, because the FCC got very, very angry about spam calls and finally decided to crack down on them. So a lot of services won't let you.
You got 2 questions in the chat.
So somebody in the chat is asking, are there any advantages being a woman or anything that can help you by using your gender during social engineering?
Yes, absolutely. I have had more than my fair share of people that I've called that are extremely misogynistic. And if I act, ditzy and dumb, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I could really just use your help,